Hey Facebook Live, I'm Mark Salinger, one of the producers on The Current. Coming up on today's show, we have a full recap of the exciting debate that happened last night. So make sure to comment in the Facebook section below to ask us any questions or tell us your favorite part. We'll also be talking to former Bernie Sanders supporters to see if Hillary Clinton has done enough to earn their vote. Stick with us, The Current starts right now.
Hello and welcome to The Current. There are just 19 days until Election Day. I'm Hannah Vega.
And I'm Sophie Flay. Both candidates took to the campaign trail today to follow up on their debate performances last night. Let's get you caught up with all the latest headlines from around the country. Last night at the debate, Donald Trump said that he would not necessarily support the outcome of the election if Hillary Clinton were to win on November 8th. This morning, he backed up his claim, saying that he would totally accept the results of the election, but only if he won. The chairman of the Republican National Committee, Reince Priebus, said in an interview that Trump would of course accept the outcome, but Trump himself has not yet said that. A New York Times article today explained a new strategy Hillary Clinton used at last night's debate. By interrupting, mocking, and even using condescending language, Clinton flipped the script and used some of Trump's debate tactics. The tactics may well have worked. A CNN poll found respondents thought Clinton beat Trump by a 13-point margin in the debate. Today, many Republicans are saying Al Gore also refused to concede the election in 2000, but those circumstances were a little different. In 2000, Gore did not immediately concede the election to Bush because of the close margin of victory in Florida, with a very close recount. Gore did not concede until the Supreme Court ruled that Bush had won. Trump's claims that he will not necessarily concede in the 2016 election are based on allegations of voter fraud. We wanted to look deeper into Trump's claims of rigged election and where the rigged election are coming from, and if there are any facts to back it up.
Trump's claim that he wouldn't necessarily support the outcome of the election is a change on his position from the first debate, in which he said that he would absolutely support the outcome of the election. Take a listen to what Trump said last night.
Do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'm not looking at anything now. I'll look at it at the time.
I talked to Bob Shrum, a veteran Democratic political strategist, on Trump's claims.
There's no merit whatsoever to Trump's claims. Like a lot of his claims, it's made up out of whole cloth. There have been several definitive studies going over the last 15 years, the last 20 years, which show that the amount of vote fraud in this country is very small. He's just saying this, I think, because he can actually read the real polls. He knows he's going to lose, and he doesn't like being a loser. So he's coming up with a rationalization, the country be damned.
Shrum says that Trump's voter fraud claims before Election Day are without precedent.
Both candidates spoke briefly about college affordability last night at the debate.
I want more technical education in high schools and in community colleges, real apprenticeships to prepare young people for the jobs of the future. I want to make college debt-free, and for families making less than $125,000, you will not get a tuition bill from a public college or university if the plan that I worked on with Bernie Sanders is enacted.
I'm a big proponent. We're going to do a lot of things for college tuition.
But the topic has stayed out of the headlines for much of the general election campaign. Bernie Sanders, one of Hillary Clinton's challengers in the Democratic primary election, based much of his campaign on making college more affordable. Annenberg Media's Cole Sullivan is with a group of former Bernie supporters right now. Cole?
That's right, guys. We're here in Caprillion Hall. And if you come this way, it's kind of a nondescript building on the west side of USC's campus. So why are we here? Well, we're here because of this room right here. It's Caprillion 445. And in this room, the Young Democratic Socialist Club of USC is going to be having their first general meeting in just a few minutes. These are former Bernie Sanders supporters, people who supported him in the primary, a lot of them for the reasons of education. And we actually have two right here. Ben Hiller and Ray Carroll are both here as well. Guys, before I ask you what you think of this election and kind of how it's been going so far, especially with the issue of education, I want to read you what both candidates currently, Trump and Clinton, have on their platform for education. So Donald Trump says that he wants to ensure that the opportunity to attend a 2- or 4-year college will be easier to access, pay for, and finish. And Hillary Clinton says every student should have the option to graduate from a public college without taking on any student debt, and says community colleges will offer free tuition. So with that in mind, Ray, you first, and kind of step in right here so we can see you. What do you think of the candidates' platform on education, and do you think it's enough?
Well, I definitely think that debt-free education is a step in the right direction. Obviously, the huge amounts of debt that students are taking on right now is it's an economic disaster waiting to happen. But debt-free college, as opposed to Bernie Sanders' plan of tuition-free college, it sounds really nice because debt is the thing that scares so many college students. But honestly, debt-free college is a hoax. The fact of the matter is that as democratic socialists, we believe that education is a right that should be provided to everyone. And so still having to pay tuition to access that right is absurd.
And Ben, and make sure to speak up just so we can make sure to hear you.
Sure.
A lot of Hillary Clinton's plan was born with kind of opposition of Sanders, right? She didn't really even have that plan to begin with.
Sure.
Do you think that she's addressed enough of Sanders' ideas, brought them in?
Well, I think it's a little bit Orwellian that Hillary's campaign, has been branding her as sort of a master of compromise when, there's either one of two things going on here. Either she doesn't know how to compromise, in which case, because Bernie was the compromise, right, providing free tuition. And when you make a compromise with something as reactionary as the Republican Party, you have to go as far left as Bernie was going or even farther in order to meet him somewhere in the middle. Hillary Clinton is starting in the middle. And so when you make a compromise from the middle to the right, you get center right.
So what you're saying is that she's starting off with her platform too close to where you think she might end up, where it might end up in the middle. You think she should start further to the left for the compromise?
Yes, because it's going to have to move farther to the right, correct? That's why with Obamacare, right, we didn't get universal health care, we got Obamacare, which again, like this sort of debt-free college, was a step in the right direction, but not at all what we want our final product to look like as socialists. We really believe that health care and that a right and education are human rights that everybody should have.
And so what do you want to see, with the next candidate elected president? What would be the ideal for you? Given the two candidates we have.
Wow. Well, for me, it's so hard to think about ideals in an election that is so driven by narratives of pragmatism, I think, because currently there's such a huge fear-mongering narrative of a vote for anyone other than Hillary is a vote for Trump. And we can talk about the ethics and logistics of voting third party all day long. But I think the bottom line is that currently, I don't think either of the candidates are capable currently of where they stand politically of embodying any sort of ideals that we would have as socialists. I definitely think Hillary is a master of pandering to us. I definitely think I think she knows what we want. She's not stupid. She understands where democratic socialists and where Bernie supporters and where millennials are coming from. I just don't think that she's willing to embody those ideals yet because it presents such a huge threat to her politically, just because our ideals are so much farther left than the general American political climate.
That she's going to get elected in. So essentially It's maybe the best you were saying that you can do right now. It's a step in the right direction, but not what you guys want to see at the end of the day. So again, reporting here from Caprillion Hall, right here in room 445 is where this first general meeting will be taking place in just a few minutes. I'm Cole Sullivan, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Cole. Last night, the candidates talked about what they would do to stop ISIS. Right now, Iraqi forces are fighting with ISIS for control of the Iraqi city of Mosul. U.S. Special Operation Forces are embedded with Iraqi troops in the fight. Today, the first American died in the operation after being struck by a roadside bomb. We wanted to see if USC students were paying attention during the debate and how much they knew about the city of Mosul. Is Mosul A city in Iraq, B, a religion, or C, a type of animal?
What was the first one? A? No, C.
An animal.
A?
Animal.
It's a city in Iraq.
City in Iraq.
A.
How'd you know that?
I guessed. City in Iraq.
Do you know what's going on in Mosul right now?
No.
Mosul is a city in Iraq.
Is Mosul A city in Iraq, B, a religion, C, a type of animal?
A religion. It's a city in Iraq.
What do you know about what's happening in Mosul right now?
There's a combat mission to overthrow ISIS.
It was a huge topic in the presidential debate yesterday, and obviously there's conflicts with Syria and Iraq that are ongoing.
What do you know about what's going on in Mosul right now?
Not a lot at all.
Anything?
Nothing. I got nothing.
Chris Wallace asked the candidates if they would send American troops to defend Mosul if the Iraqi forces are successful. Hillary Clinton said she would not send soldiers, but that Americans are offering other support. Donald Trump blamed Clinton for losing Mosul and said, quote, "Mosul is going to be a wonderful thing."
Here at The Current, our goal is to educate you about every part of the election. Here in California, there are many propositions on the ballot that could affect our everyday lives. Annenberg Media's Lauren Day takes us inside the fight to reform gun laws. Lauren?
Proposition 63 is strikingly similar to a number of gun control laws passed in California this summer. I spoke with those for and against it to hear their thoughts on even more gun control.
Ready? Shoot!
California is known to have some of the strictest gun laws. This November, there is another gun control measure on the ballot, and many firearm owners I spoke with aren't happy about it.
I'm not saying they're angry. I'm not saying they're bothered. They're furious.
A yes vote on Proposition 63 would require a background check to buy ammunition, prohibit the possession of large-capacity magazines, mandate individuals to report a theft within 5 days, and more starting in 2017.
I think the original intent was that somehow that would have an impact on the criminals in our society not having an ability to create more havoc or damage.
Dr. David Schoenfeld, who was on the Sandy Hook Advisory Commission, and other supporters say the high-capacity magazine ban will prevent damage.
The high-capacity assault weapons do allow a lot of people to be killed in a very short period of time. And quite honestly, from what we heard for testimony, minutes and even seconds make a big difference.
Reloading a magazine quite literally takes a second. So opponents say prohibiting high-capacity magazines will make little difference.
You can have as many rounds as you want, and you can reload as many times as you want.
These magazines, they look the same, but this one is actually a high-capacity magazine. If you look on the back, it holds 17 9mm rounds. It has an extension, so it shoots about 22 bullets. Now, if Prop 63 passes, gun owners will still be able to use a 10-round magazine. That means they can consecutively shoot 10 bullets.
Requiring background checks to purchase ammunition is also a big plus for the Women Against Gun Violence.
I think it's a good way to, make sure people aren't buying ammunition who aren't allowed to have guns.
They might not be allowed to have guns, but others say criminals will always find a way.
Requiring a background check is basically just harassing honest people to continue to behave honestly.
Bad guys are bad guys for a reason, and they don't go in and lawfully purchase handguns and high-capacity magazines.
Responsible gun owners and supporters of more gun control can agree on one thing. Safety is the #1 priority.
Palmer tells me the one aspect of Prop 63 that he is not against is that it would increase the penalty for stealing a gun. If Prop 63 passes, stealing a gun that is less than $950 would be a felony punishable by up to 3 years in prison. For more details on Prop 63, go to our website at uscannenbergmedia.com.
Thank you, Lauren. Last night was the final time the candidates will have such a big audience watching and listening to what they have to say. But did the debate change voters' minds? Annenberg Media's Max Goldwasser asked USC students if either candidate did enough to win them over.
The third and final presidential debate held on Wednesday was the most anticipated debate in recent memory. However, even with the stakes so high, it doesn't look like this debate did much to change the minds of students.
It was better than the second debate, but worse than the first debate.
Kind of confirmed my thoughts about both candidates.
It still didn't really get us anywhere.
After a couple of minutes, it slowly went out of hand and became really hectic.
Honestly, I really didn't go into it expecting too much.
They just need to be more candid about what they're saying.
Instead of answering the moderator's questions, they were both reaffirming their own platforms.
At this point, it's pretty clear what the trajectory of the election is going to be. I just can't wait for the elections.
A CNN poll taken right after the debate found that 54% of those who watched said the debate will not affect their vote.
Thanks for watching The Current. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Hannah Vega.
And I'm Sophie Flay. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com or on our USC Annenberg Media Facebook page. Good night.